Well, welcome, everybody. So glad you are joining us as we wrap up this historic Mushroom Summit. I believe this is the largest and the only summit actually done entirely, virtual summit done entirely on mushrooms. So I would love it to be corrected on that. There's other ones out there, but I think this is the first one like this. So thank you so much for joining us over the last 3 days, and we hope to continue to interact with you over the next months and years as you go about building your mushroom journey. So what I wanted to do tonight, folks, is we've got obviously some Q&A. But first, before we go to Q&A, I wanted to kind of do a little bit of a recap of some of the awesome things that have happened over the last couple of days. Hey, Anna, good to see you. And the other thing I need to do is we did have winners every single day for our amazing giveaways. And there's some very lucky people out there, and some of them have been contacting me. I still have to pick the winner for today just because it closed 2 minutes ago. So I've got to do that. So we will get to that. But yeah, we had some amazing giveaways with some amazing stuff in there, and some people were super happy. So we'll do that at the end. Hopefully I have a few minutes during this next hour to go and find today's winner, and then we can announce that one as well. But what I'm going to do is, let me know where you're listening from. Would love to know where you're listening from. And just give us a shout out in the comments and what your favorite talk of the day was. But what we're going to do is I am going to quickly go over some highlights, and let's see here if we can make this work. Yes, I think we've got this. I'm going to share my screen. Let's just do that for... Here we go. All right, so got a couple slides, just some highlights here quickly. I think the first thing is just the amazing feedback from everybody. We had hundreds and hundreds of comments, everyone just talking and sharing about the summit, what it meant to them. Don just watched 3 videos and said they were all fantastic. We had Arthur say this was a real eye-opener. I was amazed by Trad and all the incredible leading edge research they are doing. Whole summit was awesome. I think it's Gu said he's following the summit from France. Thank you ever so much for everything. I'm discovering this new world and it's blowing my mind. The summit has been super inspiring. I loved watching the presentations from the different speakers. Huge thanks to all involved. Sending you all lots of love. So we had so many. I could just keep reading and reading and reading. But I know so many of you were inspired. So many of you were super excited about this. And that just makes us as a team, our team just get, super excited that we can serve so many people around the world. And again, for the people that donated to our giveaways every single day, could not thank, Myers Mushrooms. Obviously, our company donated some all access passes and some of our other courses. Texas Fungus donated some tinctures for today's giveaway. And then Fungi Ally donated a gift certificate and some consulting. And I actually forgot Charles Barber from Crucial 4 also donated some of their products for day 1 giveaway. So again, thanks to their sponsors there for that into our giveaway there. A few stats here is we had over 20,206 attendees. Between those 20,000 attendees, 86,000 video views. And we had well over 1 million media impressions. And I think the coolest thing about this, obviously we had great stats, but we had a whole lot of learning going on. I can log into the back end of our software and see how many people are logged in and watching the video every day. And it blew my mind. We have hundreds and hundreds of people on there watching the videos throughout the day. So that is super inspiring as well. Also, last day to grab the All Access Pass. We've had hundreds and hundreds of you grab this so you can continue to learn, get all the presentations, the bonuses, and the workbook, and so some other great bonuses as well. So it is the last day to grab this at 25% off. The price does go up at later tonight. And so encourage you, if you are interested in taking this to the next level and, containing all those presentations. And the other thing too, that I didn't we didn't talk about, but during the summit, we've actually met some really cool other presentations, other speakers. And I was actually talking to Adam last night. We were chatting back and forth, and he was like, oh, this person I need to introduce you with, they would be great. So we're going to get those other speakers. We've got at least 2 we've reached out to, and we've got others that we're talking to add them to the All Access Pass as well. So we'll be continuing to add other presentations as we go along, as we can grab those as well. Also, we're doing, after the summit, we're doing a strategy session with the All Access members. So if you're, looking to start your mushroom business, after the summit, we're going to pick a day in the next week or so, and we're going to basically walk you through a lot of the parameters. Now, again, throughout this whole summit, you've learned so much, but putting all the pieces together, what does it look like for your farm? And again, if you were on last night with us live, you heard Eric and TRYs talking about like the business side of it. So we did a lot of conversation too there. And so that was really helpful. But what I want to leave you with before we go to Q&A, because we've got some great speakers tonight coming on to share Q&A and just chat about the summit, is this from Janice. She talks about how this was a great event, relevant, in-depth, diversified, and detailed. But what the coolest thing is she says, the takeaway from this summit is that I can do this. I now have the tools, the knowledge, and the contacts to grow mushrooms, all thanks to you and your participants. I am starting small and building in the growing. We have a small hobby farm. We've been having 2 large gardens, and I raised endangered heritage poultry. Adding mushrooms is a natural step, and now is a much easier one. So again, that to me is just really, heartwarming that people are getting the information they need out of this. All right, so there you go. That was all I wanted to share. And again, I would just, I can't thank enough all our speakers. Again, we had 30 speakers, I think it's 30 speakers, or right around 30 speakers that just shared so much of their time in putting these presentations together. And again, as an educator, I know how hard it is to get to these kind of presentations. So I really appreciate all of them for everything that they shared. And, and our team too on the back end of making sure, Heidi on customer service, responding to literally hundreds of emails, making sure you all got logged in right. Jessica, who does our email automation and does all the graphics for this. We have great graphics for this, and looks at the summit look really beautiful. Yano, who's our video editor, lives in the Philippines. Even a shout out to our podcast editor, Carrie, who is in the Netherlands, because he actually did some work for the summit as well. And then obviously, Kirsten, who's our manager and keeps us all straight. So again, couldn't thank them enough for all the help that they gave us. All right, well, let's dive into Q&A, because again, we got some great speakers, and I know you guys got questions. And again, this day was all about profiting and actually making your mushroom business work. So we've got Lori on tonight, we got Adam on tonight, we got Tina joining us, and I know Trad was going to join us as well. I don't see him. He may be tied up with something. Lori's video isn't working, so I'm not sure if I can add her. I'll give her a second to see if her video comes back online. But Tina, Adam, welcome.
Nice to be here.
Definitely nice to be here, Michael. Thanks.
All right. You've done amazing things. I feel like I've expanded my tribe. Keep on doing what you do. And after this, go get some sleep.
I did sleep in this morning a little bit. So, we changed over the days at 6 a.m. So I get up at 5 a.m. I got some web stuff I've got to do. And then I've also got, some emails that have to go out. As soon as I see those starting to go out in the queue. And again, when then sending out the number of emails we send out, it doesn't just go out instantly. It takes like 5 to 10 minutes for them to all filter out. So I sit there for those 5 or 10 minutes. And then this morning I headed back to bed. So that was really great. All right. Well, Lori's joining us too. Welcome, Lori. Uh-oh. I think Lori froze up a tad on us. But yeah, if you guys have questions in the chat, I see the chat is already going crazy. Everyone's sharing from Arizona, Quebec, upstate New York, South Carolina, Calgary, Prosperity, South Carolina. We've got Monroe, Georgia, Pueblo, Colorado, Indiana. So yeah, all sorts of great people from all over. And, I think the other thing too is just the number of countries. We had over 140 countries with people that, hit our website. So that is great too. We had a number of people from India. It was amazing how many people joined us from India. and just learning over there. Again, they've been hit with the coronavirus too over there. And again, it's not like in the U.S. where we have a government that just doles us out more money. They are suffering from this, and because their economy has really been shut down. So again, trying to give them some resource that they can use for that. Gosh, I keep adding Lori, and Lori, let me see if I can do here. Edit mic setting. I don't know. For some reason, it's not working. All right, so we've got questions, folks. Go ahead and chat those into the chat here. Adam, you had a presentation today.
Yeah. We talked about I talked about the journey that we've been on for the last 18 months, going from start to now, and it's been a strange journey, that's for sure.
Yeah, especially with the restaurant industry pretty much going kaput beginning of this year, so you having to pivot so much to farmers markets and all of that.
Oh yeah.
But what you did do is you did a lot of value-added products.
We tried to, and part of our struggle this year has just been navigating the legalities behind all of that, because in Texas, everything value added is considered processed. So that requires extra licensure, extra labeling, certified kitchens, and trying to navigate all of that while still managing to keep the lights on and the bags being made. It was a challenge, but we've done the best we could.
And the homestead laws in every state are different.
That's for sure.
I wish we could take a look at so that people could do more out of their homes.
That would be a great resource, Michael. Hint.
Yeah.
Hint.
It's something. So like, the Farm to Consumer Legal Defense has been working on that. It's just the problem is it's not like something we can do on a federal level very easily. It just goes back to the states. And when you go back to the states, then you come with 50 different regulations. And so the problem with Texas, you got so many people down there. It's like, you go to Delaware and literally you can walk right in and talk to the governor. But like Texas, there's no chance of getting stuff changed easily. It's quite the challenge.
True. But I don't know. I was more thinking along the lines of years ago, there used to be a website, Backyard Chickens, where you could log on wherever you were in the country. You could ask what the regulations were in your township, county, state, such. But if we could get together as basically users, as small farmers, and be able to build that type of resource out, so that would be huge.
That would be amazing.
All right. Well, I interviewed someone for the podcast that they were working on something like that. So let me see what I can find. And because obviously you're right, that would be really helpful to have those laws all in one location. So that the problem is too, though, isn't there some county regulations too that come into play too?
I'm sure there are in some states.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't replace an actual like legal search and such in your local area. But at least it would be, if nothing else, it would be a guide of, hey, I'm in Texas, so who do I need to talk to about this? Oh, that means I go to Texas Department of Agriculture. Oh, if I'm going to do this, then I have to go to this group. So
yeah,
even if it was just a resource of what agencies that somebody should go talk to, that would be a huge resource for small and beginning farmers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, putting the people who eat together with the people who produce, it would, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be a partnership with Slow Food or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd love we need to do more with Slow Food because they're good at getting grant money.
That's true.
Yes. Lori, good to see you.
Hi, sorry about that. Like the second you said you were going to.
Oh.
No, we lost her again.
Yeah.
Yes. What is up with Lori's stream? The other night she was here and it was great. And we're going to add Trad as well.
Hey, Trad. Good evening.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Good. We're trying to get Lori on. She gets on, she says something, and her stream freezes.
I saw that right when I got on.
Oh, there she is.
And she's frozen again.
Yes.
It just keeps dragging on me.
How did the weekend go, guys? I was busy.
It was good. Yeah, last night we had last night we had TR Wise and Eric Myers from Myers Mushrooms on. So it was a very interesting conversation because we focused so much just on the mechanics of growing mushrooms. I mean, just like from commercial scale. So it was really a deep dive into that, which got to be a lot of fun.
Right on.
And I gotta say, Google Chrome, I took it off my computer and had to put it back on again because it takes over all of my stuff, and it sucks.
Yes, unfortunately, so I mean, obviously I've got, when I'm working, because unfortunately I work in the office way too many hours still, but I've got 2 screens, and usually I have like 20 tabs and open of them each, and so that just chews up my memory, and I actually destroyed a hard drive because of it. Don't ask me how that works, but I did. So I have to be a little bit better with my tab management. But there's this whole thing called One Tab, and it's a little Chrome download. And when you add that, what it does is you click that, and it puts all your tabs condensed onto one page. So it's super nice.
No, as soon as I hang up tonight, Google Chrome, off my computer, never to appear again unless it's necessary.
All right. Krista says, Adam, I love the idea. Currency researching my area in Michigan for value added products. Last night we did have a question, and I'm not sure if you know this. Someone was asking about making like rennet with mycelium. Is that something that people do?
I've never heard of it, but I'm always the first to admit that there's nothing that's impossible.
Yeah.
I look into it.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
It sounds really cool. I'm not sure what I guess they use it to maybe make cheese or something.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Rennet is used. It's the catalyst that starts the cheese process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very cool. Deborah's asking, where can you get cordyceps in New Jersey? This has been an excellent presentation about mushrooms. Deborah, there's a number of different suppliers that you can either buy the tinctures from. Adam, you guys have a tincture on that, right?
We don't have cordyceps because we haven't had the time to devote to actually fruiting it out. It's a really unique one to fruit out. Actually, I don't know. Trad, you probably have a better idea than me on where somebody could go buy fruiting bodies.
Yeah, I'm not sure who sells the actual fruiting bodies. Most everybody just who has them or grows them or making tinctures, and I don't know many people that are selling the fruiting bodies.
Yeah.
And forget going out and looking for enough to make tincture, because I've only found, a handful of militaris at a time. It's just not efficient. You can grow them.
William mentioned in his talk some sources to get bulk cordyceps. Am I wrong there?
Yeah, he has. If you reach out to his stuff, they have like some sort of co-op that they're just starting to develop. I'm not sure how far along on the journey it is. I do know that Charles does have a tincture, and he spoke on day 1. He's at Crucial 4. If you go to like a list of our speakers, you can find his contact information. But yeah, it's but again, look in your local area, go on Instagram, type in that hashtag, we'll try to find local, because if you can be a local farmer, that's obviously, we prefer you shop local with the people in your area.
Yep.
Sandra says, you have truly myceliated all of us with information. Thanks for everyone involved. Well, that's awesome. Then we've got here a question for Adam. Brian from Miller's Mushrooms. We're intrigued by your journey of going debt free. We just hit that milestone and want to launch more in our business.
Yeah, going debt free wasn't really so much a intentional choice for us as one of necessity. Jordan and I both didn't have the credit to go get a traditional business loan, so we made it work with what we had. It worked for us, and it's certainly a good way to do it. But at the same point, if you have the opportunity to get a business loan, do it, use it, be fiscally responsible with it, but build things right the first time, and don't worry about trying to Band-Aid it and such so that you can get by on the budget that you have. We probably spent 50% more in the nearly 2 years we've been operating than we needed to on our facility and on our operation, simply because we built what we could afford at the time, which generally meant secondhand equipment, utterly MacGyvered and re-engineered equipment to make what we needed. But now that we're finally making enough money to build it right the first time, it's more expensive, but it's going to do what we want, how we want, and for a lot longer. So no debt is good, but debt itself is not a bad thing as long as it's used properly. So I wouldn't worry so much about going in debt free, Brian.
Yeah, I want to actually jump in on that because that's something we actually teach in our Start Your Farm Intensive. We go really deep into the financing side of farming. It's a really fabulous course. We spent a lot of time building that out this summer, and we put hundreds of students through it. And kind of where we go with funding, if you go and get a business loan, that's great. First, before you go get that loan, figure out that you actually want to do that. Okay, go work for someone else with mushrooms. Go down, talk to Adam for a week. Work with Adam for a week on your farm or some other mushroom farmer. Get an idea that you actually want to do that as a business. Then if you go get a loan on that thing, make sure part of that loan or you have other money saved apart to get some really good consulting around that with someone that's either in your area but knows your area. Because like if you spend $50,000, you can go really fast and you can spend that money on something that's completely wrong for your operation. And you can actually now be in a worse place than if you had duct taped and bootstrapped it from the start. So you want to make sure that you have the information and can get off to the right foot with that, because again, otherwise you don't want to be in a bad place. I mean, we're right now in the final stages, hopefully, of a USDA microloan. It's literally been a small nightmare. It's been about 120 days to get that, going. We started midsummer. It's been a nightmare. I don't know if it's the guy we're working with, the agent, or I know the process normally takes like 90 days. But this guy literally we've had 25 to 30 different documents we've had to submit. And then also today we had Dan Miller from Stewart on. So he did talk about financing your mushroom farm. They have a crowdfunding platform you can use as well. So that's probably a lot easier than the USDA microloan. So, all right, that's my little rant. All right, let's see what other questions we've got. Here's a good question. Cardboard packaging for growing kits and retail. You just kind of have to work with a local cardboard a company on that, especially if you want them printed.
Yeah. I wish Jordan was on tonight. He actually has been working for us with a couple of box manufacturers.
Okay.
And we were looking at getting a custom box for our 5-pound delivery to restaurants that we could have printed with our logo on it. And we want one that's slightly deeper because we do bigger clusters. So we needed a custom box. The problem was we're space limited. We have very little storage space in our farm. And aside from I think it was $800 or $1,000 to get the die cut so that the boxes could be cut at the right size and such. The minimum order, I forget how many boxes it was, but it was the equivalent of like 6 pallets. And I want to say it was like 8,000 or 10,000 boxes was our minimum order to get them made custom for us. So 10,000 boxes would last us probably 3 years. At full capacity, and that's if we had the storage room for it, which we barely have the room to store a pallet of hardwood and a pallet of soy at the same time. So for our kits, we use USPS boxes, honestly. We just ship the bags.
Yeah. I know probably like nearby Naturals and like North Spore and that sort of thing. I'm sure they've spent years developing those boxes. And again, hint to both those companies is like find a box that you can sell. Because again, not everyone's going to want to ship those kits through the mail. They want to buy from their local farmer.
Right. And then also design your product to fit in a pre-existing box. That's if you can't afford to get what you want, then redesign to meet the goal that you want for the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Aaron says just started growing mushrooms and listening to the Thriving Farmer podcast, which is our podcast, which actually just had episodes. We just finished our 100th episode, and we just broke 400,000 downloads. So that's awesome. But this summit has felt like destiny. Thank you for putting this together, and thank you, Mushroom Mountain, for our first oyster spawn. All right, and then we have is it Levon Prime, who is from Trinidad and Tobago. Tobago. Very informative and empowering. Thank you. Awesome. Trad, you gonna say something?
Oh no, I was actually invited down there to do some mushroom workshops last year, and still thinking about it. There was the government wanted me to come down and do some training courses.
Cool.
And I was like, oh no, I have to go to Trinidad and Tobago. I was like, oh no, poor Trad.
Suck it up.
Hey, Trad, if you need a partner, let me know. I love it down there.
All right, well, we'll do it together.
All right. Brian says he's at Marley's Organic Mushrooms. He can get you fruiting bodies. And Eric says Alex Dorr sells them at Mushroom Revival at their company. Yes, we couldn't get them on either. Michelle would love to see a recipe for mushroom jerky.
Yeah. There's several out there, but the good ones nobody shares.
Tamara is asking, is there a national networking group for mushroom growers? I mean, the biggest one is Mushroom Growers online. It's like 140,000 members, and Eric actually is an admin. But it gets a little off topic frequently, and with the size of that group, it can be a little crazy. So, if someone pushes us hard enough, we might be willing to start a kind of like one focused on actual production that actually can keep the content curated. We'll see. Shanna says she would love to hear more about your bioremediation work.
Specifically, I'm not sure what component, but right now we're focused on mycofiltration of water, which is E. coli, for a project. And so we're putting together different media types, designing bench flow tests, with different media species. The most important thing is, designing that media type to make sure we have a good rate of flow. And then we want high tensile strength mycelium that also has physical characteristics and also chemical characteristics to be able to trap the specific bacteria. Bacteria are easy. Chemical pollutants take time. They could take weeks, they could take months. And flow through systems don't work for those systems. So right now we're just concentrating on bacteria mostly, and that's a big deal. So we've designed our first systems based around Vibrio cholera and Haiti, and now we're seeing that our work abroad is being used domestically here, and we've really been pushing forward prototypes and bench tests and things like that. I believe our first paper should be published at a Furman University later next spring. Yeah, and we worked with Leif Olson there. He works with us. He's really good. And their fungal systems and plant systems, again, we like to give credit to the fungi all the time. This group, we're biased.
Yeah.
But in fact, it's the fungi and the bacteria, the plants working together to achieve true bioremediation. The fungi might be the first responders, but it takes a triage of kingdoms to fix it. Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Lori says it's just not her night. She tried to connect with her phone, but if you guys have specific questions for Lori, I mean, she does have contact information, so you can just reach out to her, follow up this, and get more contact with her. Tamara says she loved your sessions and added herself to your email list. Okay. Francis asks about grants for starting up a mushroom farm.
I've never applied for one. I know they're out there. USDA, SARE grants are there. They're mostly share-based, like information based on project definition. I've never applied for one. I've built our enterprise, based on, small 4x6 lab, all the way up to this 10,000, 50,000 square foot facility based on just sales. Loans are grants are great. You know, you don't have to pay them back. Apply for them. And a lot of, you'll see, especially value added, I've noticed in states are not tapped into. And the state of South Carolina said, man, you know, Mushroom Man, you guys are perfect for this. And the money hasn't been spent. So I may look into it. It takes a lot of time to write grants, and I don't have a lot of time. So having somebody devoted to that, and then using the consultants that the USDA or they have people that they use or, you know, applied successfully. Go ahead and tap into that. It's worth paying somebody for that because they're almost guaranteed to help you and get the money, you know, to not do it yourself.
Yeah. It's definitely, I know it's unfortunate Willie wasn't able to join us tonight, but he has gotten 5 different grants, but mainly directly into research. So it hasn't been like to start his farm. He already had a farm. He already had a business, but he wanted to do some very specific research. And then he did, you know, got a grant for it, did the research, and he's got some great resources out there, folks. So make sure you do check out Fungi Alley there. Just going down through here. Brian's asking, why is mushroom substrate so fast?
I don't know what that means. Why is mushroom substrate? Is this like a
Because it's past your eyes before you see it.
I knew that. I was going to say this is a joke. I've heard it before.
After 3 days of mushroom, I'm going a little crazy. But yes, that is good. That's a good one, Brian.
That's probably a mushroom joke I have not heard yet.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good, Brian.
Yes.
That's a keep your day job joke.
Hey man, I'm gonna file it away in my data file.
Did you hear about the turkey? What did the turkey tail say to the chicken of the woods? You want to take a selfie? Yeah. If we're gonna air all the bad ones out, let's just go for it.
Tina had a really good one.
Oh wait, Trad, that was a good one. I like that.
I got to give credit to it's somebody else. I'll figure it out in a second. I read it somewhere else. I didn't come up with that one.
Okay, Tina, you want to share the one that you told on your presentation?
No, this I learned in college back in the 80s. There are old mushroom hunters. There are bold mushroom hunters. There are no old, bold mushroom hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't take credit for that either.
Yes, there's some good ones out there. And then Andrew is asking, what's your favorite mushrooms to grow? I mean, the problem is you said on your talk, Trad, you can't have a favorite because they're all like your children. I don't have a favorite kid.
Yeah, because they're listening, you know, and if you pick one, that's showing favoritism. But it really depends on shit. It's just like in the moment. My favorite mushrooms to grow are the ones that I've never grown before. It's like when I have success growing something for the first time, it's like that's magical, you know. I mean, I love growing cubensis in Jamaica. I'll be honest, because I can't do it here, and that's my favorite one to grow in Jamaica. But I can't. I really don't. I get pleasure out of just seeing mushrooms grow. Period. It's like. It doesn't get old. It's like when I walk in there and I see pink oysters just blasting out or patty straws popping out of the compost pile. I just get pleasure out of seeing them grow, you know. It's because every day they double in size and it never gets old, you know. It's just the fact that they're capable of doing that and just expanding and thriving so well. You know, you give them that environment. So. Adam, your turn.
I'm pretty much the same thing, Brad. I like growing all of them, and yeah, I mean, going into the fruiting room on a daily basis and just seeing the explosion that happens overnight when I'm home asleep for those 4 or 5 hours, you know, I mean, it's cool. I will say, like, satisfaction wise, and I will also say that I can take zero credit for this. It's all Jordan. But we've been working with Maitake for the last, it seems like 6 months. And he has tried, we've gone through, I think, 14 different substrate recipes at this point, 3 different strains. We've tried different methods for all of this, and we're finally getting it dialed in. Once again, I say we, but it's really all him. But it's finally getting dialed in and processed. And some of the stuff that's growing now, they're just massive heads of maitake that are coming out, and they're looking gorgeous. And I like new things, and I like exploring. And one of the things that I was really excited about when we started getting bigger and we started getting networking with some of the other growers around the country was to learn from some of the other growers. And I really, really like finding other growers that are interested in expanding the industry, finding new recipes, finding new substrates, finding new strains to grow. And I like experimentation. And I look forward to the day when our business is big enough to a point where I can have employees managing our daily stuff, and I can play in the lab and start figuring out how to grow things that nobody else has ever grown. That's what gets me up in the morning more than anything else, besides just the joy of growing food.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I agree.
Tina, they didn't ask you, but I am going to ask you because, I mean, obviously you work with mushrooms on a daily basis.
It never gets old. It never gets old. So, I can take a box into our mushroom houses and I can pick lion's mane and hen of the woods and 2 or 3 different kinds of oysters. It never gets old. So, match your production facility with your strains, with your substrate, and there's infinite combinations of those. But once you arrive at something that works for you, it will work for you as long as you keep that mushroom strain happy. And there's a lot, and there's a lot to that. I mean, I'm a spawn maker by profession. So, you have to give those strains what they want to thrive. Not just survive, but thrive and produce those mushrooms every week. Mm-hmm. So we grow, tens of thousands of pounds of specialty mushrooms every week because we keep our strains happy. Mm-hmm. On the strains that fit with the substrate. Mm-hmm. So I had a question by email about, what are the proportions of our substrate? Well, match it with your strain. Yeah. And you have to do that. It's not, someone said it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. You have to pay attention to what it is that your fungus wants and give it to them, and they will make you happy.
And hey, and I also thought of this. Do you think tomato growers and people have a forum where they're all talking about how amazing, like every day is exciting and new?
I like to think so because I do that. I grow like 29 different kinds of tomatoes every year. So
you do?
And yeah.
Well, I asked the wrong person.
So Trad, I am actually a tomato grower. Now here's the thing. We made the most money on our farm on tomatoes, but I actually do not like tomatoes. Okay. Oh. So I will eat every year. I try cherry tomatoes. Like that's the gateway drug. I'm hoping that I like it. And I've gotten to the point that I can actually now stomach them. I'm like, these aren't bad. They're kind of, citrusy and kind of tangy. They're kind of good. Obviously, I love pizza and pizza sauce and spaghetti. So I'm like, I love the cooked version. But
no. Let's talk because I got some tomatoes you're gonna love.
But the thing is, every year you get one chance with that tomato plant. You plant them in the spring. You hope they do good. With mushrooms, because they're so fast, you get to try something different every week.
Yeah, you can try something every week, but from a commercial standpoint, if you mess up and you contaminate a whole batch, then that's your revenue to get you to the next week and such. So, you still got to go with the tried and true. You still got to find the ones that work, or at least the ones that sell.
Well, yes. So, yes, you always do your experimenting in the corners, as I like to say it. Yeah. Question here from Vitamix Food Cycler, and turned veg food scraps into dry fertilizer. Interesting. I don't see why not. You can dehydrate and add anything to your substrate. Just don't want to add too much of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading this question. Food cycle. I had to check that out. It's really adventurous. I'm so adventurous in growing techniques. It just means I take risks, right, Adam? I was wondering if this could be used as part of the substrate. Depending on the water content, I would say. I think Adam and Tina would agree that bacteria could win if it's very high in moisture content, like available water.
Well,
So it dehydrates the scraps, grinds them, and cools it all. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe as a background substance, you know.
I mean, maybe it could be used to add supplemental nutrition. We've started adding some random little nutrient bits to some of our mixes just to kind of see if they help add certain specific minerals to some of our strains, specifically maitake. But maybe something like that could be used to add little bits into the mixes. That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
yes. And then, Trad, you had one of your students jump on here. I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it right now.
Right.
But she said she was at your intensive recently or something like that. Anyway, I'll try to keep looking for that. Let's see what else we've got here. Where can we learn more about using mycelium as a building material? Trad, you talked about that.
Damn it. Yeah. So one of the things we've been looking at is high tensile strength or different tensile strength of different mycelium. And, you know, Ecovative has done some work with this, and I've talked to them over the years.
Yep.
And we started playing around with different ideas, which was actually made a pair of flip-flops out of mycelium because I was interested in, you know, short consumer time rubber, something that could be worn for the summer and just composted or something like that. And then we called them fungal flops, you know, and it was a total flop, by the way, and which is okay because I still have, you know, the fail forward mentality, and I know what to do next, you know. And someone said, you know what you should call that? You know, because I said, well, if you get lost in the woods and you're wearing your fungal flip-flops and they can't find you for a week, you could eat your flip-flops. Yeah. And one of my students says, oh, I got a good name. Soul food. I'm like, are you kidding me? Soul food. So, but yeah, so we started to mix tiger sawgill in with clay and building materials. And we made a pizza oven out of mycelium and clay, and it worked really, really good. So I have high hopes for these living composites that could help developing countries. You know, you grow the mushrooms, and then you mix the mycelium with the clay, and then you make clay bricks and build a structure. It's like chemical rebar, you know. And I think that's fun. That's a fun idea that could really help a lot of people around the world, you know.
And I did with the University of Delaware design department, where this brilliant young lady looked at our waste products and looked at the materials that we produce as waste, and found that our waste for King Oyster made really good material for soles that would last a long time. And designed some really cute, very cute shoes around our King Oyster waste material.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that then when they're done, you can compost them. I thought was really, really cool. And they were so cute. No, I'm all in here with guys. You don't care about cute shoes, but the shoes she designed were really cute.
I care because I have a 5-year-old who loves shoes. So this is an interesting one. Live in Oak Savannah territory. Excited to start working with my Taki. What about using the spawn in the woods on logs? I'm thinking they're thinking like taking down logs that are in the woods and just inoculating them.
Sorry, Michael, go ahead.
Well, from what I understand, Maitake normally grow on living trees that are starting to decline. Do they also grow on fallen trees?
They do usually grow on living trees, but yeah, it's not exactly a deadfall type situation. But one of the papers we ran across said that one of the good ways to grow it on logs was to inoculate the logs, and then when the log was colonized, go out and bury that around at the base of a tree, and then let it kind of you're providing a real head start for it, and you put it out in the wild, and then you let it come up from there. So Texas it's too hot. We can't do that here.
Yeah, we actually have perfect. We have these metro parks around us, thousands and thousands of acres, and they will not manage the forest. So their management is just to let everything fall down. I mean, these 3-foot across beautiful oak trees that they just let fall and then just leave those, beautiful logs right in the woods just to rot. And so, of course, I'm like, how can we? Obviously, we can't drag the log out. But could we take some mycelium in and kind of, have our own little food forest? Obviously, we have to share with everyone else, but it just, I love working with wood, and it's sad to see good wood wasted.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Here's a good one. Farmers markets. This came up the other day, but again, there's really no restrictions.
Yeah, the restrictions are going to be based on market by market. So just contact the market manager, see what their specific requirements are.
Here's a very specific question for you, Trad.
Do you have any specific mushrooms for commercial solvents, contaminated soil remediation, post-EPA cleaning efforts, residual tetrachloroethylenes? Shit, not right off the top of my head. It really depends on the site, and the site conditions are important. The region, like the bioregion, or the metabolism of the fungus to be chosen. Also the background contamination, the COC, which is contamination of interest, of concern, COC. I would say, that what we have going on right now that are showing the most promise are, oyster mushrooms are okay, but our latest tactic was to isolate fungi that exist in the soil already, and to go to that site and listen. It doesn't have to be a mushroom to be doing work. It just has to be a fungus. You might have you might just have a non-sporocarp producing fungus in the soil. It could be a mold. It could be trichoderma. It could be anything. So I like to get in there and do soil sampling to see what's already there that is acclimated to the contamination of interest or concern, and then what you do is you take that contaminant into the lab and then isolate the fungi that are in the soil, including the bacteria, and see what is able to break it down in the lab, to a certain degree, because fungi will not take it to the finish line. It's going to be the fungus and the bacteria. So we may never know what completes the cycle, because once you start teasing everything apart, the house of cards falls down. Only 2 to 4% of all bacteria can be cultured in the lab. So once you try to actually pull them into the lab and figure out what does what, it's hard to figure out. So at a certain point, finding the right fungus would be, I would choose fungi from the soil, the site, and then take soil samples and try to ferment the bacteria and add it like an epoxy set, something like that. Part 1 and part 2.
Cool.
Yep.
I think this is for all of you. So who wants to take it first?
You know, I'll go first because I think that the people speaking in this venue, that is the future of the mushroom industry. And I work in, you know, I work in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, the mushroom capital of the world. But to me, the future of the mushroom industry is what we've seen in the past 3 days. Local, adaptive, sustainable. Yeah, I mean, people want to know where their food comes from. And I'm not going to beat up on Kennett Square because I am a part of that. And I know where it came from. And if anyone has the patience to listen, I can do a whole thing on the history of mushroom cultivation in the Western world. But where innovation is happening is here.
Yeah. I agree. I came to mushroom growing from hydroponics and aquaponics. I came from another industry that is growing by leaps and bounds, every year. I think the future of the mushroom industry is going to be hyper local production. What we've seen at farmers markets and such, even dealing with restaurants, is that people want to know where their food is coming from, and more than just knowing where it's coming from, they want to know it's coming from near them. They don't want food that's been shipped 3/4 of the way around the world on planes, trains, and automobiles. So hyperlocal is going to be where it is. There's always going to be a need for big, massive farms like Kennett Square, but there's a huge place and a huge space for small farms to grow into, I think. There was a great blog post about a year and a half back by Ben from Mossy Creek Mushrooms, Mycological Warfare, where he talked about the growth of entry for small farms and how it's going to explode over the next few years. And the guys that are in the field now, all of us that are probably up here presenting and a lot more that aren't, we're the early adopters. We're the people riding that wave forward, and we're going to lead the charge for everybody that comes in after us. The problem is that over the next 3 to 5 years, it's going to be the same thing that happened with microgreens 5 years ago. Is they're reasonably easy to grow, they're reasonably high dollar, but then everybody's going to start to grow them, and the price is going to go through the floor. I said this in my presentation. We get an amazing price for our mushrooms in our market. I fully expect that we'll get that price for maybe another year, maybe 2 years, because there's going to be competition. In the last 18 months, I've seen 5 new farms come into my market and start growing mushrooms. They're not all at the same size we are, but they're growing. Some aggressively, some not so much. But there's going to be a lot of people jumping in the market. And that's a good thing, because that's going to keep innovation coming and keep it growing. And as an industry, the cream's going to rise to the top. And that's exactly the way I think it should be.
But let's also talk about that mushrooms are a food that are missing from our standard American diet.
Mm-hmm.
To a great extent. And I am evangelical about this. If you watch my talk, you probably realize this, yes. Right? People should be eating more mushrooms. And there's a whole really big public health, human suffering, human health. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people need to be eating more mushrooms. Mm-hmm. And, wherever you get those mushrooms. Ideally, get them organic, get them locally, but wherever you get them, get some mushrooms into your diet. Mm-hmm. There's, I won't go into it here. There's not enough time, but there's a huge potential, not only in this industry, but for human quality of life. People should be eating more mushrooms. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very passionate about this. There are things we get in mushrooms we do not get from other food.
Have any of y'all read the book The Third Plate by Dan Barber?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have not.
In that, he talks about creating a new image, a new vision for the American diet, one where meat doesn't take up more than a third of the dinner plate. And Tina, I agree with you 100%. Mushrooms are a high quality protein that can be grown nearly anywhere for a fraction, literally, of the cost and space that traditional proteins, meats do. And
Proteins are the least of it, though. There's
well,
ergotamine, glutathione. There's things we get from mushrooms you don't get from other sources of protein.
agreed. I'm not trying to diminish that, but just
Yeah.
the idea that we need to shift what is considered to be a good, healthy diet. And
Right.
part of that, I think, stems from eating less meat.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
increasing
totally
and
agree.
using that as a reason to increase mushroom consumption.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, there are things we get from mushrooms we do not get from other food. And I completely agree that for the planet, for the good of all of us, we should be eating less meat. But
Mhm.
even if you eat less meat, you should be eating more mushrooms.
Well, and we do have, I think it's just the aspect of, because it's hardwood sawdust, it's amazing to me the amount of hardwood sawdust that still goes into landfills. I mean, yes, there's a lot being used for animal bedding. That's great and all that, but there's still a fair amount that goes in. So I worked a couple of years ago, I did welding for a little bit. I worked for one guy who had a tree trimming service. And they had gotten to the point where they found out that it was easiest for them to bring these trucks with these boom grapples and that. And so they'd come into the area, chop the trees down, 15, 20-foot sections, grab those up, drop them in the truck, and then go dump them. And they weren't even running them for firewood. They said, for us, we don't want to deal with that. We just want to dump them. And so they had a lot that had just massive piles of, I'm sure they eventually hooked up with somebody grinding for mulch or something. But it just, to me, that there is so much, and again, the agricultural wastes that we have that aren't being used. I mean, there's, don't get me started on all the different stuff there. So there's a lot of opportunity, just waste products that we're not even using that can go to mushroom opportunity. We need them, those vitamins and minerals in our diets, as Tina was saying, and the health benefits. I mean, lion's mane, my gosh, think about just what goes there. I mean, I take it every single day for my mental health. And I'm sure all of us feel like we could have better mental health. It's definitely something I think all of us could work on probably. But I'm going to kind of switch to Brad.
What's that? You're asking me?
Yes. Why don't you wrap us up with this question?
Oh, yeah, two things. Adam and Tina hit it on the head, but getting back on this waste question, I was driving around today, and you just hit on it that I'm really concerned about the waste industry based on, plastic and industry waste, consumer waste and everything. And I mean, we almost just need to go full recycle and only essential plastics, at this point. It's becoming a huge problem. And all that carbon is going into the landfill. And you're right that I was on my way to a meeting in Greenville, South Carolina one day, and I met with one of the city officials, and they said, yeah, all the curbside pickup, the leaves that they put in Home Depot bags and shit like that. Oh, can I say that? Sorry. Anyway. Okay. And they get picked up, and the homeowners may think that they're doing a good thing and it's going to a recycling plate, but shit, it was going to a landfill. Leaves. And so they opened up a brownfield site. They started composting everything. And people, you don't need to be curbsiding leaves. And my joke out in Tennessee was I was on my way to a conference, and I said, there's a reason they're called leaves. You leave them there.
Yeah.
You freaking leave them there. That's why they're called leaves. And why are we raking them up and moving carbon, but then that carbon needs to stay where it's at. So now we're moving carbon, we're taking trees and leaves, and we're putting them in a big pit when they should be building soil, and fungi are part of that process. You know, that's one thing. Now, the next few years of mushroom industry, what I think would it look like? Adam, I agree. You know, it's going to be. You know, I tell people, I was like, man, mushrooms are easier than growing tomatoes. Sorry, Tina. And you know, I'm a tomato addict, but you know, I love eating tomatoes, but I don't get as excited about the tomatoes because they don't double in size every day. You know, things like that. And you can't make flip flops out of tomatoes yet. And but I believe that the next few years, what we're going to see is how many mushrooms were Americans consuming in 1980? How many were on the shelf? How many were on the shelf in 1990? Maybe 3. You know, how many are on the shelf now? So you see the curve ramping up. And you know, Adam, we were all talking about what excites you about mushrooms and cultivation. It's like, yeah, cultivating that thing that hasn't been done yet. And there's thousands of mushrooms that have edible value. And foraging is a whole nother game. That this is a mycophobic continent, you know, for the most part. And Europe is way ahead. And so it's I feel like there's something going on that has permanence. And Adam, I don't think this is a microgreens moment. We're gonna. Well, this is a bigger deal. I know I'm just talking about the costs and things like that, where people do things, but this is becoming a livelihood, you know. And I feel that we should create this mushroom civilization. Feel that this is a new part and a future part of permanence. That meat, you know, less meat, you know. More mushrooms, right, Tina?
Yeah. I want mushrooms to be available and affordable for everybody.
Yeah.
This is the one food that is lacking in our diet. There's probably more. I'm a mushroom geek. I focus on mushrooms, but I really feel like this is one of the major things that's missing from our diet for many reasons.
And this is
glutathione, beta-glucans. I mean, there's just so many reasons why.
And we're talking from the United States, where we have other food options. You know, what about people that don't have food options? And that's why I go to Haiti, and you know, I'm talking to people that the UN about refugee camps and people that were totally without. And this is a huge opportunity to integrate a sense of connection based around fungi, you know, in the world. And I think that's a big deal. Fixing the food problem is one thing, but fixing human relations, you know, that's huge.
And not only the mushrooms we can, you know, not only the mushrooms, which are fungus that we can pick up and eat and see, but the fungi in our soil that are providing us with things that we never thought about before. And we've destroyed the fungal networks in our soil, and we're not getting that from our food anymore. So I mean, I think that we need to focus on not only the fungi we pick up and see, but the fungi all around us.
Yeah, and the soil in my area, upstate South Carolina, in the early 1900s, the Trees of Greenville did this study. They went back and looked at the data, but in upstate South Carolina in the early 1900s, the topsoil, I'm talking about black topsoil, was 12 to 15 feet deep. And now it's 5 to 8 inches within 100 years.
Yeah.
And it's like a soil that cannot hold moisture, cannot support deep plant roots and plant life and things like that. And so this is a serious situation here. And fungi are part of the solution, but we're not giving them a chance because we're deforesting. Greenville has lost 75% of the tree canopy in the last 25 years, the city of Greenville.
And this should concern us all.
I'm right in or near the fastest growing city in the United States. and it's taking a hit. Everybody wants to be here, but it comes at a cost, you know? So, but anyway, let's talk about something happy.
Well, you
How
know,
are we gonna fix
I
this?
do consider this happy because I think people should know about this.
Sure.
I think people should be thinking about where not only where the food comes from, but where it's going to come from.
Yeah.
And if we don't support these fungal networks in the soil, I mean, we do need to be eating mushrooms, and we can get those things, some of those things from mushrooms. But to me, it comes down to healthy soil makes healthy people, and that involves fungi.
Yeah.
So good fungi in the soil, but mushrooms on your plate.
Yeah, and make soil. You know, be aware like what fungi do, and they teach you a lesson about what they're soil creators, and we need to keep soil and carbon where it's at. You know, it's not just about eating the mushroom; it's understanding what they do for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about psilocybin or something else happier?
Actually, Jenny has a great question, which actually feeds right from what we just talked about. Is Kenneth Square has a massive problem actually with carbon, with all that great used mushroom substrate. And Jenny, I mean, Tina, you probably know better, but we used to truck it to New York all the time. And if you just call down to Kenneth Square, even call the Phillips, they can hook you up with some truckers, I'm sure, correct?
Yeah. Go on the American Mushroom Institute website and they can hook you up. But also, all of the things that we use in the mushroom industry, they're going to rot anyway. So we take them off on a sod car, we rot them in a controlled way, and we grow great protein. So, you know, when people say we're creating a carbon problem, we're not. Everything we use, it's going to rot anyway.
Yeah.
We're just taking advantage of that and controlling the rotting and growing some great food at the same time. But yeah, get on the American Mushroom Institute website, and there's a whole list of people who can provide you with mushroom substrate.
Awesome. We're here in Ohio now. We're still about 8 hours or 9 hours from you guys, and we're still thinking of trucking some out here. Although, Trad, I now have a small mountain of leaves because I convinced the town next door to bring me literally 20 to 30 truckloads. Because again, people decided they wanted to rake their leaves instead of leave their leaves. So, yeah, but I'm super excited about those.
Okay. I'm gonna fade out here, but I gotta say thank you so much, you guys, for doing what you do. Michael, I don't know how well you know Ted LeBeau, but I'm gonna give you a great report because Ted is like he's a force of nature.
That is, yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much, and Trad, great to get to know you and Adam.
We should connect.
Definitely.
Anytime.
For sure. Okay.
Thank you, Tina. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Tina.
Good night.
All right. Let's see what else we got here. We should wrap it up because we are going super late. What about plastics, fungi on plastics? There are, correct?
Yeah, they found some that degraded polyurethane, but it's in a lab. That's the precursor to that. But plastics, not yet. It's not there yet. They're saying, it might need to photodegrade, and there's some things that have to happen before to do that. I honestly think that probably one of our best options is to go out to one of the specific messes out there and try to find some water molds or fungi that have adapted to that. We need to be digging into landfills. We need to be looking at anaerobic fungi that are capable of breaking down. Have been, listen, build it and they will come. Yeah. Right. That's a famous phrase. And that's what I was addressing, the bioremediation problem with what fungi should you use. They're probably already there. And if you leave a contaminant out, it's like a welcome mat for the millions of mitosporic or non-fruiting body mushrooms or fungi, ascomycetes and molds that are out there that are doing the work, but we just don't see them.
Mhm.
So a lot of environmental sampling has to occur in this respect. You know, we've given a lot of credit to mushrooms that we can see, but the fact is it's the unseen that are doing a lot of the work. So we need to dig in.
Okay, folks, and I think with that, we'll wrap it up. Again, thank you so much to our speakers. You know, we had an amazing group of speakers. Thank you to my team that kind of helped hold it. That well, I could not have done it myself. That helped pull this off. And thanks to all our attendees. Really appreciate that. And again, cool thing about these summits is this is just the beginning. So you know, we obviously have a live event. We have a lot of fun doing this. But it's just going to go from there. So we start working with our partners and just get this out to literally thousands and thousands more people around the world.
Hey, Michael, can we close with one thing?
Yes.
Ah, shit, can we just leave it open and I'll moderate for the rest of the night?
What do you want to talk about?
I want one, who has the best psilocybin question? That's it.
Okay. Yes.
There's going to be somebody on the thread, and just let's wait a few seconds and wait for it. What do you want to know?
Yes. Let's go there. Okay. There
I
actually
can't go to
was earlier. Yeah, there was one earlier. So guys, I know we got over 100 people on right now, so someone at least has to have some questions about.
And it can't be about me. It can't be a personal question.
Like, how many grams have you taken in your lifetime?
That's probably not one we want to answer publicly right now.
No, it's beyond the statute of limitations. I was in my early 20s. I did eat a whole shoebox full one night. That had to be
Wow.
never mind.
That must have been interesting.
It was a box full of ideas.
Let's see. I'm just scrolling up here trying to find, because there was some questions earlier about this.
Oh, really? Shit. There's 100 people watching and nobody's got a fresh idea?
Well, let's
Oh,
scroll
no,
back.
there's a bunch coming in, Trev.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't see it. I'm not looking at it.
Okay. Yeah. Here we go. Here they go. Now they're coming in.
Yeah.
All right.
As soon as we try to cut everybody off. Yeah.
Do you need to dry them first, or can you pick and munch?
We're not going to end with that question, but just pick and munch.
Yes.
Next
Do you think that psilocybin gives you access to another reality, like an alternative reality?
well, it depends. I would say that it's the reality is what you make of it. That there may be I don't think there's a parallel. I think it is what it is, but you basically can shape and mold, you know, what you want to make out of it. You don't have to. Your reality is not what the world makes it to be. You can make the reality into what you want it to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If your life sucks, it's because you project that. You know, it's like just project positivity and growth, and that's the reality you're going to get.
Yeah. Let's see. Someone says, Leonardo says, how much trouble would I get in if I get caught growing them?
Delete that post.
But actually, a couple of people are asking about tea. How do you make tea with it? Another one is, how do I get started with it?
Started with it. Adam, do you want to chime in, or do you want me to take the hit on all these?
I'm gonna pass.
Yeah. Okay, I'm good because I mean we got the blue portal in Jamaica. So, how do you make a tea? That's it. Just blend it up if it's fresh and make a tea and add a little bit of honey or something and boil it up. Or powder it dried and add it to the tea. You know, getting started on it, that's a tricky subject, and I think I'm with Adam on that. There's plenty of information out there. There's kits and things like that online. There's grain bags and syringes and stuff like that. But I don't complicate my business with those things. I just refer it to other companies. There's the Shrimmery. There's all kinds of stuff online. Yeah, and it's almost decriminalized. It's being decriminalized. So if it's being voted on in your area, or recommend that it gets decriminalized, because really it's it's on the verge.
Yeah. So obviously it's cool if you just want to trip out on them, but I think the really cool part is how it affects, PSTD, people who are struggling with addictions. Talk to us about that aspect of the addictions or, the PSTD.
Right. So, the pill a day approach of antidepressants and things like that are expensive, and they're psychologically could be damaging and prolonging the inevitable. It's just a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid pill. But what the psilocybin does is it really confronts the foundation of what the problems are, and gets to the root of that. Kind of unroots that problem. Now, one psychedelic session could give benefit for a month or 3 months, 6 months to a year for every patient. And so synthetic psilocybin right now is about $5,000 to $6,000 a pill if being used in research. Yeah, wow is right. And how much do mushrooms cost? Like very inexpensive to grow. So I would just see this as an opportunity that if they decriminalize and there's access to information on, number one, how to treat or open treatment centers with therapists, and also information on how to microdose for anyone with depression or anxiety. That we could it's the number one class of drugs is antidepressants in the United States.
Yeah.
And this is a fixable problem.
Yeah.
And the companies don't want a solution. They want the pill a day, but the mushrooms are like, they're the answer. They're the solution. So I'm a big proponent of that. I'm not shy about saying that anywhere. And they're making billions of dollars on people that are suffering that'll never get better. And the mushrooms are definitely part of the solution. So I'm happy to be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that really everyone, people try it. What I'm gonna say is, I'm gonna mute you for some reason, Trad, because it's getting feedback. If people struggle with that kind of stuff, I think you should explore what they can do for you. Because again, why should you be spending so much money on these drugs when, there's easy ways to fix it?
Yeah.
What about a contact for the Jamaican facility? Is there just a website I'm sure you've got for that, Brad?
I just got a waiting list going for Blue Portal. You can just contact me because of COVID. We just paused it for COVID. That's it. And I'm actually looking into Costa Rica as well at the moment.
Okay.
It just depends. I mean, I've been down there many, many times. I'm comfortable being down there. Got some good locations and things like that. And the food is amazing. I mean, just the ocean is so blue. Maybe because your pupils are dilated. I don't know. But it's just it's a different environment. And sometimes, you could do it in the U.S., but sometimes a real physical journey, to an exotic location where you can just get out of mind and out of body is what a lot of people need. But Costa Rica I'm working on now, so I'm just actively pursuing that stuff. So just go through Mushroom Mountain. There's a form you can fill out.
Okay. Now this is any plans to work with the affairs? Probably not too into this, are they, Trad?
Actually, they're very open to it. We've talked to a few people about that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Glad they're thinking. And depression and other mental health issues, yes, it's working with that too, correct?
Right. Everything right now, probably the riskiest one would be like schizophrenia and mental issues like that. PTSD. Like I said, there's violent crime offenders. There's rape victims or sexual assault victims, I'd rather say, that are benefiting from this experience. And fear, anxiety, and depression is what they really, and that's like the base of the pyramid for a lot of conditions, mental conditions. And then you know what that leads into is like drug abuse after that. And so it's just like a domino effect. You know, why is someone addicted to drugs? Why is someone, you know, an alcoholic or abusive towards their spouse? You know, it stems back from a problem that they may not know exists. And they say, well, I don't have a problem. Well, it's because your ego is there saying, like a firewall saying, I don't have a problem. But once you get in there and you're stripped of that, boom, that problem is, you know, it's there looking you in the face and you have to deal with it. And that's why it's good to not do a high dose by yourself. If you feel or know that you might have an issue, because, you know, it's going to come up. And you shouldn't be alone in that respect. You need to be in a good setting, good environment with somebody you trust, but also somebody that's been through the experience themselves. Just saying, oh, well, I'm going to have my best friend watch me may not be enough if they've never done it before. If you're going to do something like that, you know, it's if you're really looking for a solution to get in there and do some psychedelic surgery is what I call it, like unplugging cords and plugging new ones in like a switchboard. You better prepare for that in advance, you know. And I met someone, I know she's listening right now, but she taught me how to meditate, and for months and months, you know, I did this, or weeks and weeks, and it's highly recommended that you do something like that. You prepare before an experience like that, and not just jump in and say, oh, you know, mushrooms are gonna fix this, you know, like a magic pill. I'm just going to go in there and the research says, oh, if you take this, it's just going to fix me. You know, you have to fix yourself, and you need to prepare for that journey mentally before you do it. Right. And, you know, you got to do your homework. You got to prepare for that experience, because the most important is when you come out, it's the reintegration.
Yeah.
You know, doing it is easy. But reintegration is like, could take days, weeks, and months to understand, Jesus, what just happened? You know?
Yeah. It's really interesting that you listen of the folks who are like, let's say, you know, the Steve Jobs, you know, some of these people have made amazing discoveries or amazing breakthroughs in industry, or just done amazing things. A lot of it, they kind of contribute. They talk about, you know, some of them did, you know, LSD or the mushrooms, or all these kind of things that kind of just opened up new pathways in their brain. And I think that's kind of what mushrooms can do for you, is just kind of really change your outlook and how you view things.
Yeah, I was just talking about that today with my good friend, you know, that there have been significant advances in ideas, technology, and going all the way back to Plato, you know, and Pythagorean and math, and it's just incredible. Like when you start connecting the dots about individuals who have really made huge leaps in discoveries and things like that. Yeah, that there was something involved there, and it is the common denominator. So.
Legalization versus decriminalization.
I don't know. Adam, you could speak on it, right? On that. Legalization versus decriminalization.
I mean, let's see. Do you think that?
So
I don't know. It's not that I have any like fear of talking about this or whatever. It's more just I've seen words get twisted from past experiences, so I'm real careful what I say. Like I said before, I came from the hydroponic industry, so cannabis was a big button comment with that. And when it comes to legalization, decriminalization, should it be legal? Should it not? That's not for me to make a decision. You know, it's certainly better, I think, to be decriminalized. There are far better things that are our police forces and legal systems should be doing. But I don't know. I'm going to dance around this and not give a real answer is what it's going to end up being. But
Well, I think Trad, with your experience too, you keep saying, other people keep saying, is you don't want to do this by yourself. So if we completely just remove all restrictions, people are going to go out and start grabbing it and start doing it themselves, and that's not good. So I think we need some sort of check, and I don't know what that is.
Well, here's the facts that anybody can go out and buy a 12-pack of beer and go out driving, and that's totally legal. And we're talking about, hey, let's decriminalize beer. What does that mean? Like, you can't buy or sell it, but you can drink it at home or make it. And legalization means it's just that. It's bought and sold. It's okay to have, but it's still the same thing. Don't eat a bunch of mushrooms and go drive a car. That's just like common sense. And yes, you would still be arrested for intoxication because you can't operate a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think legalization is inevitable, because decriminalization, it could be the one step. It's the stepping stone, but legalization is inevitable, because really, no Schedule 1 is no medicinal value. And what we say the other night, the high probability of addiction. It's like, how many people are walking around addicted to magic mushrooms? But how many people are addicted to alcohol, tobacco, and pharmaceutical drugs? It shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be class 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be, and yeah, it is an intoxicant, but listen, the beer industry is there. The tobacco industry is there. Those are legal.
Uh-huh.
And they lobby with money. The problem is that, I hate to get political, but shit, it's just the facts.
Yeah.
They know that these things cause disease, cancer, and death, and they're illegal because they're taxed. There was a comedian, Bill Hicks, that said, hey, the reason that shit isn't legal is because, all the bad drugs, aren't taxed.
Yep.
And it's kind of true.
Yep.
And that's a good point, Rod. From that perspective, yeah, I agree. There's no reason for it to be treated any different than a number of other things that we already have. But the path forward is not just blunt force, legalize everything. You're right. There should be some level of restriction on it, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it comes down to, and if you look at how our world runs, it's follow the money in every single aspect, unfortunately. Yeah, and Michael Pollan's book, How to Change Your Mind. I actually haven't read the whole thing, but I hear it's quite good about that.
It's a great book.
Yeah.
Great book. He discusses many different types of psychedelics, and mushrooms are like they always seem to come out the favorite, with a lot of people. A lot of people say, I don't want to change this into a drug discussion. Let's just talk mushrooms. But yeah, good book. Read it. And
have you talked to him at all about that? Do you know him at all?
Michael, I've met him a couple times, and he's under the umbrella of my publishing company.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because we tried to get him on for the summit, and obviously he's kind of hard to get a hold of.
It's impossible. Yeah, he's booked out for eons.
Yes. Yeah. All right, I'm just trying to see what else here. Maybe this one.
What would you consider the most beneficial aspects of consuming psilocybin in a controlled manner? Danielle. Let's see. Controlled manner. It depends on how much you want to do and what you want to get out of it. I don't know if she can reframe a question in the comment box, but it's like beneficial aspects. It really depends. Like low dose microdosing is really good for a few times a week if it's something that helps you get through the moments. focus or just initiative and depression or things like that, headaches, things like that. If a controlled manner would be what is the most beneficial aspects of set and setting, the right environment would be the beneficial aspects in a controlled manner, just comfort. I've done it in nature a lot. It's been one of the better places to be with someone that you trust and know very well. And I've done it in complete darkness like years ago, like 20 something years ago, with a really good friend again. But again, being by yourself with a high dose can go sideways, especially if you're dealing with some transition. I mean, I've had people die in my life. I've had pretty nasty breakups, and that's trauma, and you just got to know that stuff is going to come up, like in a major way, probably within the first hour. Is usually the way it happens. When that stuff is hitting hard within the first 30, 45 minutes is when you're going to confront all the demons in your life, and you may not think, well, I've got no demons.
Yeah.
Everybody's got something, and then that's gonna come to the surface. You're gonna deal with it, and it's better if somebody's there to help you talk through it. And then you're out of it. You're out of the clear, and then in the next 3-4 hours, you're in bliss. You've risen above it, like a phoenix out of the ashes. That's how it feels. It feels liberating.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Here's another one that's actually really good. Taking psilocybins while on antidepressants.
No, that's not a good idea. I believe that our therapists recommend discontinuing the antidepressants for X amount of days or time before a session.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Yeah, we do medical screening and everything, so we have a whole process, and it's we communicate with you 1, 2, 3 months ahead of time to make sure that the medical history is right. We have a nurse on staff that's there just in case. Just in case. It's one-on-one stuff. It's not group therapy. Thanks, Michael, for keeping it open. Shit,
that's really fine. I'm just trying to think if there's any other questions here.
You're fulfilling a need, obviously.
Yes. Yes, we did. We purposely were like, we're not going to have like a magic mushroom summit, but hey, I'm happy to let it come up.
As long as this is not on Facebook, we're fine.
Well.
Wow. Actually, it's really interesting you say that because we have they haven't pulled the feed yet, which is good. We have a hemp group. We have multiple hemp groups. Well, where we talk about, it's Buy-Sell Hemp Group where they're selling, CBD hemp, not selling, cannabis. It's CBD. It's for CBD hemp. But literally every single day, I get a notification from Facebook. You've got 12 more community violations because people are posting pictures of it in the group. We've got hundreds of hits against our group. There's got to be someone at Facebook literally that sits there and waits for a new post to come in and say, nope.
Wow.
Yeah. Someone's asking what the proper dose for microdosing is.
Well, let's see, Brian. It could be body weight dependent too. So you can scale up or down on this, but I would say 160 pound adult male would probably be around 300 micrograms or milligrams. Start with 200, 250, and then work your way up to 300, 350. But I mean, you start getting up close to 4, you might start noticing stuff that, you may not want if you're in a work environment, So it depends. I mean, Yeah, I mean, 200, start with 250 and try 3 and just work your way up. And it's really strain dependent too. I forgot that. You know, the strains are different. So yeah, just start low. And by God, get a digital scale that's accurate. Don't use a spring scale that's a kitchen scale. It's not accurate. Get a little diamond scale or something like that. That's accurate to, you know, 100th of a gram, and put your stuff on there and just you know, see what you can do. Yeah, do with it and just try it out. But don't just dump it on there and say, you know, I'm gonna guess. You know, you're gonna be calling your friends and being like, oh, I can't drive, you know, or I can't work, you know.
So I think, Tread, too, how long should you devote for the experience, too? How many hours or days?
For microdosing,
Yeah.
that is typically like some people say to do it every day of the week, and some people say to do it every other day. Or I don't think there's any pattern to it. I think that if you have it, and then you kind of know what your next day is going to be like. Sometimes you go to bed thinking about it, and listen, write down. You know, before you go to bed, just write down everything, unload everything, get it out of your mind. You wake up, you see the note the next day, you get a really good night's sleep, and then you know it's going to be a challenging day, and then you do it that day. You don't have to do it like, you know, like people say, like every day of the week or every other day. Just do it when you need to do it. But you kind of have a feeling, and then you start to have a bad day at work. And then somebody might try to do it, and then it may not be a good thing, you know, because you're kind of trying to spray it with like a fire extinguisher, you know. Your emotions are there, but if you do it in the morning, you know, before anything starts, before anything happens, you know, it's just like shit, you know. Then everything just kind of rolls off of you. It's good, right, Adam?
Definitely.
I know. I don't want to include Adam on any of these discussions. He's immune.
Hey.
Hey.
Gail says, "Thank you guys, this week was life-changing." That's awesome. Cool. Well, I don't see any more questions. Didn't legalization happen in Oregon? I think it's in Denver, and I know Ann Arbor just decriminalized.
I thought it was decriminalization. I didn't think that mushrooms were actually legal anywhere. I thought they were just decriminalized. Trad, do you know?
Yeah, decriminalization is different than legalization. So if you're caught with a little bit or whatever, that's one thing. But if you're growing with, you know, if you got 50 tubs in a room, you could be screwed because that's supply. Yeah, with intent to sell. Unless you can claim or prove that you can eat all that within a week, which if I was caught with 20 pounds or 20 years in prison, I'd probably go for it.
And what a long, strange trip it has been. It's good.
They always say, don't get caught with more than you can eat in one sitting. So, you know, just saying. It could be a rough night.
So they said they have one to legalize man, this would always.
Come on, Michael, you can do it. You can do it.
It's it. The last time.
Okay, so they legalized it for therapy, and they decriminalized the possession of small amounts.
Okay. And there's a year wait now to get the safety protocols in place for the therapeutic use.
Okay.
And we're keeping tabs on that stuff too. So, yeah, we've got some experience in this arena. So, and there's a lot of people and companies out there. Yeah, Oregon's going to become a hot spot, for one of the first hot spots. And then, you know, the business potential is going to be obvious to the other states, and it's just going to be a domino effect. You know, it's just going to fall apart.
Yeah.
That's That's it. It only takes 1, 2, 3, and then boom. You know?
So it's interesting. Mark Zuckerberg was behind funding this.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, it's interesting that Facebook's so anti cannabis, but for this anyway.
Damn, we are having a slumber party, Adam. It's just interesting. Yeah.
I think that's all the questions. Chris wants to know how you find the mycelium. You can search. The Shroomery does have some. Just to kind of throw that one out there. You Google that. Yeah, there are. Back alley usually works.
Yeah, dark back alleys.
No, this has been real fun. I've learned a lot from listening to you talk, and Michael, once again, just to say it publicly, thanks for putting all this together. It's been great to hear everybody's perspective on the industry and to get a chance to interact with some new people. So thanks.
Same here, Adam. I mean, I learned a lot from you too. We're all doing different things, and we bring in different strengths and areas of expertise. So Tina too. It was like I didn't see many people on here, but I'm glad there was a great weekend. It was a great turnout, and that is testament to the need for the information, and that they're going to tell people and share this, and it's just going to domino. It's gonna compound up from here. So,
absolutely.
Right on.
So Tina says that this last bit has been the icing on the cake, guys.
Yeah, right. That's how we end it.
Yes. Someone does say non-related, Trad, but how long before MM has mushroom lion's mane kits again?
I don't know.
If Trad doesn't have them, Texas Fungus does.
Yeah, there you go. You just gotta give them a buzz, or back wherever, Texas Fungus or Mushroom Mountain, doesn't matter. But I'm not the one to ask, really. I'm not. I don't want to say it, but I'm just not there that much anymore. And I just do other things, other mushroom related stuff, and I'm on the road a lot. So we have a team now who's there, and Kat works in the office. All you have to do is call or email. Call, email her, talk to Adam. Don't matter. It's all community. It's all good.
All right. So, folks, I didn't actually get a chance, or did I? Did I do that? I forget. No, I was supposed to pick the last winner for the giveaway, and I did not get that. Did I?
Brad Cotter. What did I win?
Well, they won an all access pass. They run some actually tinctures from Adam, a couple books, and I'm just trying to think what. The calendar / mushroom book from Ryan and Emily, which is super cool. It's kind of got like mushrooms by month as they come through, and it's really cool as well. So, I will get that. We will send an email. Obviously, we'll let that person know. But we do have the day 1 and day 2 winners, and which I will share. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Actually, I think I did pick the day 3. I just got to pull the post back up. So I just got to go back to Facebook. I got to go find the post. I got to open this to giveaways. Here we go here. And got too many tabs open, as always. And let's see, right here. Here we go. I'm just going to.
You want a psilocybin trip in Jamaica? Can you imagine?
Are you giving one of those
include
away?
airfare and lodging?
No. Not yet.
All right. So day 3 for today winner was Rachel. It's Duby. So I'm going to pronounce that Duby. That's all I've got, folks. I guess that's the best. But we will contact you, Rachel. Congrats on winning. Yesterday was Lisa Eldor. And the day before was Jenny, who said, you just hear me screaming excitement. I am so excited. So, yeah, we will get you all your all access passes and the other awesome things that you won. And we do have the winner for the pre-summit too, which was an email address. We don't have a name yet on that. We're still working on that, but we will get that to you as well. So there you go, folks. Thank you again, everyone, for hanging out with us. Really appreciate it. Did this go long enough, Trad? Did we get enough of your magic mushroom magic out of you?
Yeah, it kind of, yeah, it touched on the edges a little bit. No, that was good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Adam, Bob says Texas Fungus says Lion's Mane kits are out of stock as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it right now. Go to the page Kit Presale. That's where they are. They're on the wrong page, so I'll
Okay.
fix that. Just message me directly, and I'll figure it out.
Cool.
I'm not.
Great. We're going to wrap it up, folks. Well, again, thank you so much. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. And this was a lot of fun. Trad, you've been a rock star hanging out with us every night. Adam, you were here for 2 nights out of the 4, so that was awesome too. Really appreciate you sharing your expertise. And yeah, we will. Well, obviously, this is just the start of really trying to get the word out there about mushrooms of all types for all people. So,
Yeah, man.
all right, see you, everybody.
Yeah, man.
See you guys.
Good night.
All right, guys. Good night. Goodbye, mushroom people. May the shrooms be with you.
Absolutely.